I started to feel a fatigue that was not normal. You know that weight in the legs that we ignore, thinking it's just part of daily life? It was worse. It was as if a ton was tied to my ankles, dragging me to the ground. At first, I thought it was a lack of vitamin, work stress, anything but what it really was. I tried to sleep more, took a vitamin complex recommended by the neighbor, but nothing worked. I woke up already exhausted, without energy for anything. Furthermore, my feet and ankles started to swell. At first, it was only at the end of the day, after standing for a long time, but soon, the swelling became constant, bothering me a lot. The socks left marks on the skin, and the shoes felt tight. Stubbornly, I thought, oh, it's just water retention. I'll drink more water and everything will be fine. Big mistake. The crucial point, the moment that made me desperate to seek a doctor, was when I started to feel short of breath. Climbing a flight of stairs became torture, and even talking left me breathless. That's when it hit me. No, this is not normal. Something very wrong is happening to me. Fear invaded me, and I knew I needed urgent help. With the shortness of breath suffocating me and fear consuming me, I finally gathered courage and made an appointment. The waiting room felt like purgatory, each minute dragging on like an eternity. People coughed, complained, and all I could think about was what the doctor would say. I had a lump in my throat, and my heart seemed to want to jump out of my chest. The doctor, a man with glasses and a serious expression, listened attentively, taking notes in his records. He requested a battery of tests: blood, urine, imaging. I left the office stunned, with a huge list in hand and a whirlwind of thoughts in my head. Was it something serious? Was I really sick? Waiting for the results was torturous. I spent sleepless nights reviewing every symptom, every detail. I searched for information on the internet, which only made me even more anxious. Every click was a new nightmare. Every article, a sentence. I tried to stay positive, clinging to the hope that it was all just a false alarm. When the doctor called me to give the diagnosis, I already knew it wasn't good news. The words kidney failure sounded like a bomb. My kidneys, the organs responsible for filtering the blood and eliminating toxins from my body, were failing. In other words, they were not functioning. The ground disappeared from under me. At first, I denied it. It couldn't be true. I, so careful with my health, so active. How could my kidneys be sick? I cried, thrashed around, revolted. The news devastated my plans, my dreams, my life. Suddenly, everything I had planned seemed distant, unattainable. The routine, once so normal, was now filled with appointments, exams, and medications. It was as if I was living a borrowed life, a life that no longer belonged to me. The treatment started with dialysis, a machine that did the job my kidneys could no longer do, filtering the blood. 3 times a week, for 4 hours, I was connected to that machine, watching time pass slowly. It was a painful process, both physically and emotionally. The needle pricks, the extreme fatigue after the session, the constant feeling of sickness. Everything was a challenge. Dialysis brought a series of restrictions. The diet, once so free, became meticulously controlled. No salt, low potassium, limited liquids. It was a monotonous and flavorless menu, which left me frustrated and longing for the tastes of life. My lifestyle changed radically. I had to quit my job, slow down on physical activities, and distance myself from friends. Dialysis took over my routine, turning me into a hostage of a machine. Disheartenment was constant, and many times I found myself thinking about giving up. But my family and friends were my safe haven. They gave me strength, encouraged me to keep fighting, and showed me I was not alone. The visits, the phone calls, the messages of support, every gesture, no matter how small, gave me the courage to face another day. I decided to educate myself about the disease. I read books, scientific articles, participated in support groups. The more I learned, the more I understood what was happening to me and how I could deal with the situation. I found out that kidney failure is a silent disease, often not showing symptoms until in advanced stages. Over time, I learned to live with dialysis, to adapt my routine and take care of my health. I became an advocate for kidney health, spreading information about the disease and encouraging people to get preventive checkups. Kidney failure transformed me, made me stronger, more resilient, and more aware of the importance of taking care of my body. Kidney failure taught me valuable lessons. I learned that health is our most precious asset, and we must take care of it with affection and attention. I learned that life is a gift, and that each day is a new opportunity to be happy. I learned that faith is essential, and that believing in something greater gives us the strength to overcome obstacles. I know that my kidneys will not function as they used to, and that dialysis will be part of my life forever, unless a transplant becomes possible. But I refuse to let the disease define me. I keep fighting, keep dreaming, keep living. I hold on to hope that science will progress and find new ways to treat kidney failure. I believe that one day I will be able to rid myself of dialysis and have a fuller, more independent life. In the meantime, I dedicate myself to taking care of my health, following medical advice, and enjoying every moment with joy and gratitude. If you are going through something similar, don't give up. Seek support, talk to your family and friends, see a psychologist. Don't be ashamed to ask for help. Remember that you are not alone in this battle. Take care of your kidney health. Drink plenty of water, avoid excessive salt, control blood pressure and diabetes. Get regular preventive checkups, especially if you have a family history of kidney disease. Detecting kidney failure at an early stage increases the chances of effective treatment and a better quality of life. Life is a gift, and we should make the most of it, regardless of the difficulties difficulties we face. Keep the faith, don't lose hope, and believe that the future can be brighter. If I managed to overcome kidney failure, you can too. Always remember, resilience is the key to a happy and fulfilling life. Take care of yourself. Hello, my name is Natalie, and I am a person just like you. A regular person with a normal life, a family, a job, until everything changed. Suddenly, without warning, my life took a completely unexpected turn. And today, at 50 years old, I want to share my story with you. I never imagined I would be here, talking about kidney failure. I always considered myself a healthy, active person who took care of myself. But the truth is, I ignored the signs my body was giving me, postponed the visit to the doctor, and ended up paying a high price for it. I decided to share my experience because I believe it can serve as a warning to others. I want my story to help you pay more attention to your body, not neglect symptoms, and seek medical help as soon as possible. If I had done that, maybe things would have been different. I made mistakes, regret some decisions, and now deal with the consequences of my choices. But I have learned a lot from it all, and I want to turn my pain into hope. I want my story to be a tool for awareness and prevention, so that other people do not go through what I went through. My intention is not to scare, but to inform and encourage you to take care of your kidney health. After all, prevention is always the best remedy. At first, it was just an unusual fatigue, that heaviness in my legs that just wouldn't go away, even after a full night's sleep. I would justify it. Oh, it's the work stress, the long hours in front of the computer, the rush of daily life. After all, who hasn't felt like that? We always find an excuse, something else to blame other than our own health. Headaches started to become frequent, almost daily. I attributed it to stress, lack of appropriate glasses, even to the weather. And of course, I self-medicated. A painkiller here, another there, to relieve the pain and move on. Ibuprofen was my best friend, always at hand in my bag, in the work drawer on the bedside table. It eased the pain, yes, but it masked the problem, preventing me from realizing the seriousness of the situation. Swelling in the feet and ankles was another constant. I thought, I am not drinking enough water. I need to hydrate more. I increased my water consumption, but the swelling persisted. I tried using compression socks, which my neighbor recommended, but the relief was minimal, and I, stubborn, kept ignoring the warning sign my body was sending me. The routine was insane. Work, home, kids, husband, barely had time to breathe, let alone to go to the doctor. Health was always put on the back burner, relegated to a forgotten corner of my life. I thought, I'll deal with this later. There's no time now. And the later never came. Furthermore, I was afraid of what the doctor might say, afraid of finding out something serious, afraid of having to change my life, afraid of facing the truth. I preferred to live in ignorance, postponing the inevitable. It was easier to believe it was just fatigue, stress, lack of vitamins. It was easier to take a pill and move on, pretending that nothing was happening. I did seek a general practitioner once, but I was so quick in the appointment, so superficial in describing my symptoms, that he prescribed me a vitamin complex and sent me home. I, relieved, thought, see, it wasn't a big deal. And I continued with my life, ignoring the signs, postponing the visit to the specialist. This was my big mistake. I neglected my health, prioritized other things, and ended up paying a high price for it. Renal failure silently set in, undermining my kidneys slowly, without me realizing it. And when I finally sought medical help, it was already too late. My kidneys were compromised, and dialysis became an inevitable reality. The escalation of symptoms was gradual, but relentless. The fatigue, which was once just a passing nuisance, turned into a constant exhaustion, accompanying me from the moment I woke up until bedtime. It was as if an internal battery was always drained, preventing me from performing the simplest tasks. The headaches, which were sporadic before, became a constant companion, pulsating in my temples, throbbing in my neck. Painkillers no longer had an effect, and nights of sleep were interrupted by throbbing pain. My work began to be affected, concentration decreased, productivity fell, and absences became frequent. It was difficult to maintain focus, difficult to meet deadlines, difficult to deal with pressure. The swelling in my feet and ankles intensified, making walking difficult. Climbing a flight of stairs became a torture, and even a simple trip to the supermarket became an exhausting task. Clothes started to not fit, shoes were uncomfortable, and the reflection in the mirror scared me. I felt swollen, deformed, trapped in a body that no longer belonged to me. The shortness of breath began to scare me. I felt a tightness in my chest, as if a huge weight was on my lungs. Breathing became shallow and labored, and even speaking left me exhausted. I was afraid of suffocating, afraid of not being able to breathe. I began to avoid crowded places, slow down physical activities, isolate myself from the world. Nights became a torment. Insomnia haunted me, and when I finally managed to fall asleep, I would wake up several times with shortness of breath, headaches, and cramps. Sleep was not restful, and I would wake up even more tired than when I had gone to bed. My relationships began to suffer. Irritability increased, patience decreased, and arguments with my husband became frequent. I distanced myself from friends, afraid of bothering them with my complaints and limitations. I felt isolated, misunderstood, trapped in a cycle of pain and suffering. I tried to hide the situation from those around me. I wore loose clothing to disguise the swelling, made excuses to justify missing work, forced a smile to hide the pain. I was afraid of worrying my children, burdening my husband, being judged by friends. I wanted to be strong, to show that everything was okay, but inside, I was falling apart. Frustration and despair often overwhelmed me. I felt powerless in the face of the situation, unable to control my own body. Sadness consumed me, and the urge to give up was constant. I questioned the meaning of life. Why so much suffering? I felt wronged, outraged, abandoned. I realized my body was failing. The perfect machine I had always admired was deteriorating, losing strength, losing vitality. Accepting my own fragility was a painful but necessary process. I understood that I needed help, that I could no longer carry this burden alone. And finally, I made the decision to seek a doctor and face the truth, no matter how harsh it was. The day I finally decided to seek medical help dawned gray, as if the sky sensed the storm that was about to unfold in my life. The sense of urgency was palpable, a constant tightness in my chest that prevented me from taking deep breaths. After months of ignoring the signs, of procrastinating the inevitable, it finally hit me. I needed help, and I needed it now. I scheduled an appointment with a nephrologist, a kidney specialist. The wait until the day of the appointment felt like an eternity. Every hour dragged on as if it were a whole day, and anxiety consumed me from within. I relived every symptom, every pain, every discomfort, trying to find an explanation, a justification, anything that could ease the fear of the unknown. On the day of the appointment, I arrived at the doctor's office with trembling hands and a racing heart. The waiting room was packed, a sea of worried faces, each carrying their own story, their own anguish. I sat in a chair, trying to calm myself, but it was impossible. With each passing minute, the fear intensified. The certainty that something was wrong grew stronger. When I was finally called into the doctor's office, a chill ran down my spine. The doctor, a man with white hair and a serene look, greeted me with a kind smile. I recounted my symptoms, described my routine, shared my concerns. He listened attentively, without interrupting, jotting everything down in his notes. At the end of the appointment, he requested a battery of tests: blood work, urine test, kidney ultrasound. I left the office dazed, holding a long list in my hand and a lump in my throat. The wait for the results was torturous. I spent sleepless nights, going over every detail of the appointment, searching for signs of hope, signs of relief. I searched for information on the internet, but the medical pages only left me more confused and scared. Every article I read was a new nightmare. Every possible diagnosis felt like a verdict. I tried to stay positive, clinging to faith, but doubt gnawed at me from within. When the doctor called me in to give the diagnosis, my heart almost stopped. I sat in front of him, trying to stay calm, but my hands were shaking uncontrollably. He looked at me with a compassionate gaze and said, "Your tests indicate chronic kidney failure." At that moment, the world crumbled. The word failure sounded like a death sentence. My kidneys, the organs responsible for filtering the blood and eliminating toxins from my body, were failing. The news hit me like a punch to the stomach, taking my breath away, stealing my voice. The shock was so great that I couldn't react. I was paralyzed, not knowing what to say, what to do. The doctor's words echoed in my mind, but couldn't make sense. It was as if I were watching a horror movie, unable to control the script. Disbelief took over me. It couldn't be true. Me, so careful with my health, so active. How were my kidneys ill? It was a nightmare, a mistake, a cruel joke. I refused to accept the diagnosis, clinging to the hope that it was all a mistake. The fear of the unknown was paralyzing me. What would become of my life? What would the treatment be like? Would I have to undergo dialysis? Could I have a normal life? The questions piled up in my mind without finding answers. I felt lost, helpless, thrown to my own devices. The search for answers had become relentless. I spoke with doctors, researched on the internet, read books and scientific articles. I wanted to understand the disease, know the treatment options, and learn what to expect from the future. With each new piece of information, fear intensified, but the need for knowledge pushed me to keep searching. The need for support was urgent. I needed someone to listen to me, to comfort me, to give me strength to move forward. I confided in my family and friends and was surprised by the wave of love and solidarity I received. Their support was essential in helping me face this difficult time. Faced with that situation, I questioned my values, my priorities, the meaning of my life. I realized I had spent too much time worrying about trivial things, neglecting what truly mattered. I decided to change my life, prioritize my health, value simple moments, and enjoy each day as if it were the last. Renal insufficiency transformed me, made me stronger, more resilient, and more aware of the importance of taking care of myself and the people I love. The beginning of the treatment was a reality check. The emergency consultation after the diagnosis resulted in the implantation of a catheter for hemodialysis. The word hemodialysis hung in the air like a sentence, a constant reminder of the failure of my kidneys. The first session was terrifying. The thick needle entering the vein, the blood circulating through the machine, the constant buzzing of the device. Everything was new and scary. I felt vulnerable, dependent on a machine to survive. The side effects of the medications were devastating. Constant nausea, loss of appetite, insomnia, muscle aches. Each pill was a new challenge. Azathioprine, an immunosuppressant, made me extremely susceptible to infections. A simple cold would turn into pneumonia, requiring frequent hospitalizations and long sessions of antibiotics. Prednisone, a corticosteroid, made my face swell, gave me acne, and made me irritable. It was a vicious cycle. One medication to control the disease, another to alleviate the side effects, and so on. Hospitalizations became routine. The hospital became my second home. The nurses, my friends, needle pricks, blood tests, catheters. Everything was done so often that I lost sensitivity. The fear of pain was replaced by apathetic resignation. Hair loss was one of the hardest moments. Watching my hair fall in clumps down the shower drain felt like losing a piece of myself. Vanity, once so present in my life, was fading every day. I felt ugly, mutilated, devoid of femininity. I tried using scarves, wigs, hats, but nothing made me feel good about myself. Extreme fatigue prevented me from performing even the simplest tasks. Walking to the kitchen was a marathon, taking a shower, a sacrifice. Vital energy seemed to have been drained from my body, leaving me exhausted, apathetic, lacking the will to live. Dietary restrictions were a torment. No salt, little potassium, limited liquids. The pleasure of eating was replaced by an obsession to control every gram, every milliliter. Meals became monotonous, tasteless, bland. I dreamed of a steak with onions, a chocolate ice cream, a cold glass of soda. The disease-imposed limitations imprisoned me at home. Dialysis forced me to spend 4 hours, 3 times a week, connected to a machine. Traveling, outings, meeting friends. Everything was drastically reduced. I felt isolated, excluded, deprived of the liberty to live. There have been moments when I thought about giving up. The pain was unbearable, the suffering constant, hope almost non-existent. I questioned the meaning of life, the reason for so much suffering. I felt unjust, revolted, abandoned by God. But the support of my family, my friends, and the medical team was crucial to keep me standing. My husband, a tireless companion, accompanied me to all appointments, helped me with daily care, gave me strength to move forward. My children, loving and understanding, filled me with affection and showed me that I was important to them. My friends, loyal and present, visited me, called me, sent me messages of support. The medical team, caring and competent, explained the procedures to me, reassured me, gave me hope. Faith also helped me a lot. Believing in something greater, in a higher power, gave me strength to overcome difficult moments. I prayed, meditated, sought comfort in religion. Faith gave me peace, gave me hope, gave me the certainty that I was not alone. Over time, I learned to live with the illness, to adapt my routine, to take care of myself. I discovered that resilience is a powerful force, capable of propelling us to overcome the greatest challenges. I understood that life is a gift, and that each day is a new opportunity to be happy, despite the difficulties. I still have bad days, days of pain, days of discouragement, but I learned to deal with them, not to let myself be discouraged, to seek strength in small things. Kidney failure transformed me, made me stronger, more resilient, and more aware of the importance of valuing every moment of life. Many times we hear about terminal illness and palliative care as if they were the same thing, but there is a crucial difference between the two. Terminal illness refers to an irreversible and progressive health condition, where death is expected within a relatively short period, usually months or weeks. Palliative care, on the other hand, is an approach aimed at improving the quality of life for patients and their families facing issues associated with serious illnesses, whether curable or incurable at any stage of the disease. It is important to demystify the idea that palliative care is synonymous with end of the line. They do not hasten or postpone death, but rather provide relief from pain and other symptoms, offering emotional and spiritual support for the patient and their family. The main goal is to ensure that the patient lives as comfortably and dignified as possible, regardless of the prognosis. Being in palliative care means having access to a multidisciplinary team composed of doctors, nurses, psychologists, social workers, and other professionals who work together to meet the specific needs of each patient. This team can offer a variety of services, such as pain management, relief from other symptoms, nausea, shortness of breath, fatigue, emotional and psychological support, nutritional guidance, physiotherapy, and occupational therapy. Palliative care also encompasses the social and spiritual aspect, helping the patient and their family to deal with the emotional, existential, and religious issues that arise as a result of the illness. The team can provide support in planning for the future, resolving family conflicts, seeking meaning and purpose in life, and participating in religious or spiritual rituals. My personal experience with kidney failure led me to seek alternatives to complement conventional treatment and improve my quality of life. Dialysis, although essential to maintain my vital functions, brought with it a series of side effects that left me exhausted, irritable, and discouraged. That's when I started exploring alternative therapies, such as meditation, yoga, and acupuncture. Meditation has helped me calm my mind, reduce stress and anxiety, and connect with my inner self. Through regular practice, I have learned to observe my thoughts and emotions without judgment, accept the present as it is, and nurture inner peace. Meditation has also helped me deal with pain by teaching me relaxation and breathing techniques that allow me to control pain intensity and reduce the use of painkillers. Yoga has provided me with physical and mental benefits. The postures, asanas, have helped me strengthen my muscles, improve my flexibility, and relieve joint pain. Conscious breathing, pranayama, has taught me to control my vital energy, reduce stress, and increase my energy level. Guided meditation, present in some yoga practices, has allowed me to deeply relax and connect with my essence. Acupuncture, an ancient technique of Chinese medicine, has helped me relieve pain, reduce nausea, and improve my sleep. The very thin needles, inserted at specific points on my body, stimulated the release of endorphins, natural substances that act as painkillers and antidepressants. Acupuncture has also helped me balance my vital energy, qi, promoting health and well-being. It is important to note that alternative therapies do not replace conventional medical treatment, but complement it. They can be used alongside dialysis, medications, and other medical interventions, providing symptom relief, improved quality of life, and greater well-being. The search for palliative care and alternative therapies has taught me the importance of caring for the body, mind, and spirit. I have learned that health is not just the absence of disease, but a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and that, even in the face of a serious illness, it is possible to live with quality, dignity, and hope. Life, this relentless roller coaster, had one more loop in store for me, a vertiginous drop that would test the limits of my resilience. After years of battling renal insufficiency, of adapting to dialysis, of finding a new normal, I received the news no patient wants to hear. The disease had returned. At first, the news sounded like thunder on a sunny day, a dissonance amidst the melody I had worked so hard to compose. A routine exam, just another in my saga of medical follow-ups, revealed concerning changes. Initially, the doctors tried to reassure me, attributing the changes to various factors, hormonal fluctuations, minor imbalances, but deep down, I knew something was wrong. Intuition, that internal compass that guides us even when reason is lost, warned me of imminent danger. The symptoms, once subtle, began to intensify. The fatigue, which I knew all too well, became overwhelming, preventing me from completing even the simplest tasks. The pains, once sporadic, became constant, throbbing in every bone, pulsating in every muscle. The shortness of breath, which I had managed to control with dialysis and alternative therapies, returned to haunt me, suffocating me, preventing me from taking deep breaths. The swelling, which I had learned to live with, spread throughout my body, distorting my hands, my feet, my face. The tests confirmed the worst. Renal insufficiency had recurred, and this time, with metastasis. The diseased kidney cells had spread to other organs, compromising their function. The news hit me like an avalanche, burying me under a sea of emotions. Fear, which I had managed to control with faith and hope, returned to paralyze me. Fear of pain, of suffering, of dependency, of loneliness, but above all, the fear of death. The finiteness of life revealed itself in all its cruelty, confronting me with the fragility of existence, with the ephemeral nature of dreams, with the brevity of moments. Anger, which I had tried to repress, exploded into a volcano of fury. Anger towards illness, injustice, fate. Anger at having to fight again, starting from scratch, having to face pain and suffering once more. Sadness, which I had hidden beneath a mask of optimism, washed over me like a wave of melancholy. Sadness for the dreams I did not fulfill, for the moments I did not live, for the people I did not love enough. Sadness for having to say goodbye to life, to my family, to my friends. Acceptance, which I had sought so fiercely, seemed unattainable. How to accept a death sentence, how to live with pain and suffering, how to find meaning amidst the chaos. I decided to seek help. I talked to my family and friends, shared my fears and anxieties, received support and affection. I sought a psychologist who helped me deal with emotions, organize my thoughts, and find strategies to confront the illness. I sought comfort in religion, strengthening my faith, renewing my hope, finding meaning in life. I decided to focus on the present, living each day as if it were the last, enjoying every moment with intensity, valuing the little things, loving the people by my side. I decided not to be beaten down by illness, not to surrender to suffering, not to give in to despair. I decided to fight with all my strength, with all my faith, with all my love. I know the path is hard, the journey is long, the future is uncertain, but I trust in God, I trust in medicine, I trust in myself. I believe that life is worth living, even in the face of pain and suffering. I believe that hope is the last to die, and as long as there is life, there is hope. Renal insufficiency, metastasis, pain, suffering, all of this is part of my story, but it does not define me. I am more than a patient. I am more than an illness. I am a woman, a mother, a wife, a friend, a human being, and as long as I am alive, I will fight with all my strength to live life fully, with joy, love, and hope. The fragility of life, the uncertainty of tomorrow, have taught me to live the present with intensity. I discovered that happiness happiness is not in great achievements, material possessions, or social recognition, but in the little things, in simple moments, in everyday experiences. I learned to savor every moment, to appreciate every detail, to value every opportunity. I rediscovered the pleasure of walking in the park, feeling the sun on my face, the wind in my hair, the smell of wet earth. Watching children playing, couples holding hands, elderly people talking fills me with joy, connects me with life. I appreciate the beauty of flowers, the singing of birds, the silence of nature. I started dedicating myself to my favorite activities again. Reading, which used to be a sporadic hobby, has become a constant refuge. Diving into the pages of a book, traveling to other worlds, meeting new characters transports me to a magical universe, relieves me of pains and worries. Writing, which has always been a secret passion, has turned into a therapy. Expressing my feelings, sharing my experiences, recording my thoughts frees me, heals me, gives me purpose. Music has become part of my life again. Listening to my favorite songs, humming old melodies, dancing to the music fills me with joy, energizes me, makes me feel alive. Music connects me with my emotions, transports me to happy moments, reminds me of loved ones. Cooking, which used to be an obligation, has become a pleasure. Preparing delicious meals for my family, trying out new recipes, using fresh and tasty ingredients entertains me, relaxes me, makes me feel useful. The aroma of food, the taste of spices, the joy of sharing a meal with the people I love fills me with happiness. Gardening, which I've always admired from afar, has become a therapy. Taking care of plants, watering flowers, pruning leaves connects me with nature, teaches me patience, brings me peace. Watching plants grow, bloom, bear fruit amazes me, inspires me, gives me hope. Photography, which has always fascinated me, has become a way to capture the special moments of my life. Photographing the people I love, the places I visit, the moments I live, allows me to eternalize memories, relive emotions, share the beauty of the world. I learned to value relationships. Friendship, which used to be a superficial contact, has become a strong bond, a safe harbor. Sharing my fears and anxieties with my friends, receiving support and affection, giving and receiving advice strengthens me, heals me, makes me feel loved. Family, which has always been important, has become essential. Dedicate time to my children, talk to my husband, hug my parents fills me with joy, connects me with my roots, gives me purpose. I learned to express my feelings. Sadness, which used to be repressed, is now accepted. Crying when needed, expressing my pain, asking for help liberates me, heals me, strengthens me. Joy, which used to be contained, is now celebrated. Laughing, dancing, singing, expressing my happiness energizes me, uplifts me, makes me feel alive. Love, which used to be shy, is now declared. Saying I love you to the people I love, showing my affection, expressing my gratitude connects me with my feelings, strengthens my relationships, gives me purpose. I learned to be grateful for life. Thanking for each day, for each moment, for each opportunity connects me with abundance, strengthens my faith, gives me hope. Thanking for health, for family, for friends, for work, for nature, for the beauty of the world fills me with joy, motivates me to move forward, makes me feel blessed. Illness taught me to prioritize what really matters. I stopped worrying about trivial things, about others' opinions, about the uncertain future. I started focusing on the present, on the people I love, on the things that make me happy. I learned to say no to what harms me, to distance myself from negative people, to avoid stressful situations. I decided to live life with authenticity, with courage, with love. I decided to be happy, despite the illness, despite the difficulties, despite the suffering. I decided to transform my pain into hope, my weakness into strength, my fear into courage. I decided to live life fully, with joy, with love, with gratitude. Life and death, two sides of the same coin, revealed themselves to me in their complexity and beauty. Before, death was a taboo, a topic to be avoided, a feared ending. Today, I see it as a natural part of the cycle of life, a gateway to the unknown, a transition to another dimension. Illness has taught me to appreciate life in its fullness, to savor each moment as if it were unique and unrepeatable. I discovered that happiness isn't found in accumulating material possessions or achieving professional success, but in loving and being loved, in sharing meaningful experiences with the people who matter to us, in making a difference in the world. Kidney failure forced me to confront my own mortality, to face my fears and anxieties, to rethink my values and priorities. I realized that time is precious and limited, and that we cannot waste it on things that don't make us happy. I learned to live in the present moment with intensity, to savor each instant, to appreciate the little things. Illness transformed me into a stronger, more resilient, and compassionate person. Pain and suffering taught me to have more empathy for others, to understand their difficulties, to offer support and solace. The battle against illness strengthened my spirit, made me more perseverant, taught me to never give up. Resilience, the ability to adapt to adversity, to overcome obstacles, to turn pain into learning, became one of my greatest virtues. I learned to deal with difficulties with serenity, to maintain hope even in the darkest moments, to believe that there is always a light at the end of the tunnel. Compassion, that ability to put oneself oneself in the shoes of others, to feel their pain, to offer help and support has become one of my greatest purposes. I have decided to dedicate my time and energy to helping other people facing similar challenges, to share my experience, to offer hope and encouragement. The legacy I want to leave is that of a person who fought with determination against illness, who never lost faith, who always kept hope alive. I want to be remembered as someone who loved deeply, who lived fully, who made a difference in the world. I want to inspire others to take care of their health, to cherish life, to pursue their dreams, to do good. It is essential that people become aware of the importance of preventing kidney diseases. Adopting healthy habits such as drinking plenty of water, controlling blood pressure and diabetes, avoiding excessive use of medications, and regularly engaging in physical exercise can make all the difference in the health of your kidneys. Preventive screenings are essential to early detection of kidney diseases. Consult a doctor regularly, undergo urine and blood tests, follow medical advice. The earlier the disease is diagnosed, the higher the chances of effective treatment and better quality of life. For those facing similar challenges, I want to leave a message of hope and encouragement. Do not lose heart, do not lose faith, do not give up on your dreams. Believe in yourselves, trust in medicine, seek support from your family and friends. Remember that you are not alone in this fight. Life is a precious gift, and we must make the most of it, even in the face of difficulties. Maintain optimism, cultivate joy, cherish simple moments, love intensely. Remember that hope is the last to die, and as long as there is life, there is hope. Believe that it is possible to live well, even in the presence of a serious illness. Follow medical recommendations. Take care of your health, seek complementary therapies, nurture your faith. Remember that you are stronger than you think and capable of overcoming any obstacle. Be inspired by my story. Learn from my experiences. Follow my advice. Take care of your health, value life, love intensely. And always remember, hope is the light that guides us in the darkest moments, and love is the fuel that drives us forward. May peace, strength, and hope be with you. My journey, however painful it may have been, taught me the importance of listening to our body. It speaks, warns, pleads for attention. Do not ignore the signs. Do not minimize the symptoms. Do not delay the visit to the doctor. Prevention is the key to a healthier and happier life. Early diagnosis can make all the difference, increasing the chances of an effective treatment and better quality of life. Based on my personal experience, my final advice is: face illness with courage, faith, and hope. Do not succumb to despair. Do not be overcome by suffering. Believe in yourself, trust in medicine, seek support from your family and friends. Faith is a balm for the soul. Hope is the light that guides us in the darkest moments, and courage is the strength that propels us forward. And above all, love. Love intensely. Love unreservedly. Love without fear. Love yourself. Love your family. Love your friends. Love life. Love is the cure for all ills, the bond that unites us, the strength that sustains us. Love transforms. Love liberates. Love saves. I am grateful for each day lived, for each person who crossed my path, for each lesson I have learned. I am thankful for life, even with all its pain and challenges. I believe in the strength of life, in the human capacity to overcome obstacles, in the beauty of existence. Value each moment, embrace each opportunity, love intensely. Life is a gift, and we must make the most of it.